All right, enough violence, enough Augie, enough smoldering depression. How about some quick hits instead?
Let's go, Gab.
There's so much focus on Newcastle after the Saudi takeover. Jules, are we to take it for granted that Steve Bruce is going to be let go, as everybody seems to be reporting?
Yes.
And if so, do you have some sympathy?
Yes, we are. The only sympathy I have, I don't think he's a good manager. And I certainly don't think that matches the ambition that the new ownership have for this club. So why would you keep someone who is second from bottom when you have high ambitions? It makes no sense.
Well, but they're playing in a couple of days and he's still there.
But that it doesn't matter. I think the sooner you get rid of him and the sooner you can move on and get someone else, someone new, the better. Where the only sympathy I have, a little bit, is that he's on 999 games as a manager, in his managerial career, and the one against Spurs on Sunday would be the 1,000th, which is a huge milestone, and he deserves a lot of credit for that longevity and that kind of experience. And if you sack him like this week, and he's not on the bench for the Spurs game, he will have another go at some point because he will have another job, sooner rather than later. You know how the merry-go-round works with managers in England, but that's the only thing. Otherwise, I don't see where I don't have a problem at all, and I'm surprised they haven't even done it quicker.
I just find it odd that everybody said, like, oh, it's going to happen. His number 2, Graham Jones or whatever.
So why would you keep him? Why would you keep him?
But it hasn't happened yet.
No, I know. And there's probably a reason for that.
Money.
Maybe money. And meanwhile, Gab, the bookies are busy predicting who will come next after Bruce is sacked, with Frank Lampard, Antonio Conte, Lucien Favre, Brendan Rodgers, Roberto Martinez, Steven Gerrard, Eddie Howe, Ralph Rangnick, Zinedine Zidane, my dad, all linked. It's a very diverse bunch, isn't it?
Yeah, and what that tells me is that every agent in the world is on the phone to Amanda to see what happens. Obviously, some of these guys are unemployed, like Lampard, like Conte, like Eddie Howe.
Like Zidane. I mean, imagine Zidane and you.
It'd be amazing. Look, he's got a history in black and white, right?
Yeah,
so the Brendan Rodgers one, some people are reporting he's going to turn them down. Guys, if you're Brendan Rodgers, with all due respect to Newcastle, if, as we've been told, they're going to grow gradually, why would you leave Leicester now to go to Newcastle, where it's going to take time? It just makes zero sense to me. Whatsoever.
Although the money would be, he's going to triple.
I think Brendan has enough money.
Yeah, of course he has, but maybe he likes the project of building a super team.
He's doing that in Leicester.
The next 5 years, yeah, true.
There's a similar merry-go-round of names for the sporting director job. Luis Campos always seems to come up. Jules, the former Lille and Monaco man, is he as brilliant as some say he is? Or is he as, and obviously our lawyers are watching, as controversial as others say he is?
Well, just before we go into Campos, I think the thing that is really important, if you're the new owners at Newcastle, is to name your sporting director. And maybe that's why...
Do that first and then
and then
change Bruce if you want to change Bruce.
Yeah, and then with the sporting director, go and get a manager that is on the same page as the sporting director. What's the point of appointing a new manager now, and then you go and get a sporting director and they don't have the same idea, they don't have the same vision or anything?
Unless you hire Rangnick, in which case he's the same man and he does everything.
He does everything. Yeah, you're right. Maybe. In terms of Campos, the only issue I've got with this is that Campos is amazing at finding those gems, right? So you go to Rio Ave and you find Fabinho. You go to Benfica B team and you find Bernardo Silva. Those kind of stuff. Same with Lille in many respects. Newcastle don't want someone from the Benfica B team, right? They want, you would think, they want some big name players, as big as you can for now. You're second from bottom. It's not a Benfica B 19-year-old talent that is going to help you come out of there, I think, and make that team improve. So I'm just not sure if Campos is the right profile. He's got other contacts and he can go and sign you Coutinho or sign you whoever, Aaron Ramsey or whoever you want. But what he's really good at is that, or maybe he can do a bit of both. I think Campos is a great guy, even if there is a bit of controversy, as you said. It's his own company that he works through. There's a few stories there and there. Let's put it that way. Some predict Newcastle will attempt to copy PSG and Manchester City and spend huge amount of money straight away, Gab, as early as January and then next summer. Others said that it would be more gradual. And some have pointed out that Newcastle new owners are 10 times richer than Sheikh Mansour City, for example. But Gab, does that matter?
No, this is one of the stupidest things that you can say. It's just so dumb. And I've seen this everywhere. Like, oh, look, they're 10 times as rich. Okay,
They're not going to spend 400 billion on this club anyway.
So, first of all, the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia has a lot of assets under control. Yes, they have a lot of money, right? But they're not an individual. Doesn't mean they're going to spend all that money on a football club. They are actually a serious fund that tries to get a return for the people of Saudi Arabia. They're running a business. I think the entire environment's completely different to when Abu Dhabi took over at Manchester City and Qatar at Paris Saint-Germain. Financial fair play, the landscape, things are very different. On top of that, there's I don't know how much stock we should put on what Amanda Stavely says, but she says it's going to be gradual growth as well. So how rich the owner doesn't make a jot of difference. It's what is the plan. They say it's going to be more gradual. I think it makes sense for it to be more gradual and try to do things overnight because there is a huge gap between where they are now and there's a lot of competition for those top 4 spots. So, no, I think it's going to be gradual. I believe them. Mauricio Pochettino talked about Kylian Mbappe's future, saying the club will try to persuade him to stay. Jules, is this news or is Pochettino just putting his Captain Obvious hat on?
Captain Obvious. He says it all the time. I mean, I guess every time we ask him the question, he has to say,
it's our fault.
I know it's our fault, yes. We want him to stay. We're hoping that we can convince him to stay, persuade him to stay. He uses different words, convince, persuade, believe, all of that. So time will tell, that's all. Bad news for Milan. My boy Marc Mignon has undergone surgery for his wrist injury, while my other boy, Theo Hernandez, tested positive for COVID after coming back from France and the international break. This is a big blow, especially in terms of Champions League. They played Porto next week.
It's a huge blow, and obviously they're in a tough position after the defeats to Liverpool and then that car crash against Atletico Madrid where they were really unlucky. They've got 8 guys out this weekend. They'll hope to get some people back. Obviously Zlatan also out. It's a really tough spot to be in for a team that's played, I think, above themselves so far. The New York Times are reporting that the long-standing partnership between EA Sports and FIFA could be coming to an end. The iconic game known to many simply as FIFA. I think there's people who play it who don't even know what
FIFA is.
There's
really,
another FIFA, some people suggest it could be called FC. They've trademarked the game just in case they don't reach an agreement.
This is interesting, isn't it?
Would it make you a bit sad?
It would make you a bit sad. I think for our generation, certainly this has been a big part, whether you're a big video game fan or not, but certainly it's an iconic game. I still think that they will find an agreement, even if FIFA want more money from EA Sports. I think for EA Sports, it's so important that it remains a FIFA game and not just the FC 2022, 2023, or that kind of stuff. So we've seen those arguments before, and usually they find a way financially. But yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Claudio Ranieri turns 70 next week, but the new Watford boss says it's not a problem, and he's convinced that he can manage until he's 80. Gab, that's a bit over the top, right?
Okay,
80 is old.
Having known Claudio Ranieri for 20 years, I can tell you that sometimes he just says things just for the hell of it, like the whole dilly ding, dilly dong,
of course.
pizza, whatever. He's having fun. He's gonna keep going. This is his I think it's his 23rd job in football. Like, crazy. The guy does it because he loves it. He's got more than enough money.
But you saw his energy in his press conference on Wednesday. He was so full of energy, smiling. I think he's great.
Yeah, I think it'll last a while longer.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.